Hello, I'm Amy Zawi with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for Wednesday, March 13th. What's happening in the UK? There's an uptick and an alarming rate of anti-Semitic activities in the UK and in other parts of Europe. And it seems like some of the parliamentary leadership in the UK are complicit or even encouraging it. Specifically, Labour Member of Parliament Jeremy Corbyn. He's a Labour Party member, and he has displayed many documented anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist activities and expressions. He has supported countless anti-Semites within England and violent anti-Semitic extremists, and has praised Hamas operative. He actually defied an anti-Semitic mural. He was defending an anti-Semitic mural, and he co-sponsored a bill to eliminate the Holocaust Memorial Day because it was, quote, too Jewish. He also accuses British Jews of being not quite English, and he's indifferent to the cesspit of anti-Semitism and the anti-Semitic bullying that is going on by his fellow labor activists. His voice is loud and clear and unchallenged, even by a letter by The Guardian, which triggered a suggestion that Corbyn, in his criticism of Israel and its policies, and labeling it specifically as a racist, is indeed fighting anti-Semitism because it is exercising free speech. Corbyn argues tirelessly that the International Holocaust Remembrance definition of anti-Semitism, he lobbies against it because he wants to be able to legally say that Israel and its inception as a nation is inherently racist. He said that its very foundation is racist and represents an obstacle to the Palestinian narrative. Therefore, he won't agree with the definition. According to the European Union definition of anti-Semitism, I will quote it to you. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jews or non-Jewish individuals and their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. In addition, such manifestations can also target the State of Israel, conceived as a Jewish collectivity. Anti-Semitism frequently charges Jews with conspiring to harm humanity and is often used to blame Jews for why things go wrong. May I add to this that anti-Semitism is also to ignore all the good and wonderful things that the nation of Israel and Jews as individuals and as collective communities around the world have brought to our society, our modern society, both historically and presently. The individual rights that Israel affords to men and women of all ethnicity and all dispositions, including the LGBTQ, are unmatched by any of their neighbors. The innovations that Israel has given the world in technology, communications, horticulture, counterterrorism, medical advances, and humanitarian aid, including recently to Chile and in the past to Haiti and the tsunami sufferers back 10 years ago. The fact that anti-Semitism omits recognizing in any way, shape, or form all of the good that Jewish people around the world and over history, as well as the modern state of Israel and her inhabitants, have given to the world. I personally was in Israel when women and children were fleeing from Darfur, and Israel gave them refuge and a new start. Not to mention, just recently in the last year or so, the humanitarian aid to the Syrian civilian population that the IDF provided at its borders in medical and other life-saving efforts. To keep pounding Israel and the Jewish people in the press, in the halls of the UN, and now on the floor of the U.S. Congress, pounding her with lies and misconceptions, untruths, half-truths, all ignoring the benefits she has provided around the world, is taking up the time and energy of these institutions and sucking the oxygen out of the energy that we need to be using to actually solve real problems, atrocities, and human rights violations around the world. Corbyn is, in my opinion, in the UK, the leading anti-Semitic person in their government, and the British people need to be mindful of this and vote accordingly. But meanwhile, across the channel in France, France's President Emmanuel Macron announced just last month that he was going to crack down on the scourge of anti-Semitism that he has seen as an uptick in not just France, but all over Europe. He is noted as saying, quote, resurgence of anti-Semitism unseen since World War II is something that he said is not only happening in France, but also other areas. Last month, thousands of people took to the streets in France to protest the rising anti-Semitism there. I did not see that covered in the U.S. press, but I wish it was. And Emmanuel Macron pledged to adopt the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, the same definition that Jeremy Corbyn refuses to even acknowledge. Please keep Europe in your prayers as the anti-Semitic activities that are happening on the ground against Jewish people, families, and communities is real and underrepresented in the press. These families are trying their very best and at record numbers to emigrate to Israel, so let's help them where we can. Shavua Tov, and have a great week.